The first course I'm going to talk about is Black Women in Political Leadership in Their Own Words, which is cross-listed with English and with Feminist Gender Studies. The course really is, over the years, has grown substantially. We started actually as a small seminar with 8 students, and it was quite a nice, intimate kind of gathering at that time. But since then it has doubled, it has tripled. And in fact, last semester when we offered it, last academic year when we offered it, we actually didn't have enough room in the seminar room. And adding to that, one student had to bring a service dog. So we had all the students and a dog who was part of the classroom. Anyway, it was quite, I think, a learning experience for me, but also for students. And I approach teaching, as you know, as always an experience where both the faculty members should be learning and the students should learn as well. The idea is that we never should ever be complacent that we know every single thing. So I learn as much as from my students as I hope you learn from me. And of course you expect to learn more because you're paying for that, right? Anyway, so this course covers the life experiences, and I'm reading from the course description, and political struggles of Black women who have attained political leadership. The way that I study Black women is diasporically, so that it studies the rise to political power of women from the Caribbean, the US of course, centered, Africa, and also Brazil. The point is that we've had in the last few years the rise of a number of Black women to political leadership. Interestingly, as early as 1978, Shirley Chisholm ran for president of through the Democratic Party on the Democratic ticket, but of course didn't get beyond the convention where she eventually conceded and so on because she did not have enough votes. But she kept saying then that this was all about getting the delegates, because when you have delegates you can argue for something and we could put things on the table. So for her, running for office was not even about winning, but as a process by which we enter the political machinery and find ways to debate and argue for what we want. So we definitely read her autobiography, which is titled Significantly Unbought and Unbossed. And then along the way, of course, now we have the rise to political power of African women, as Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is a good representative of that. We'll be reading her book titled This Child Will Be Great, which talks about how she came through the ranks from actually being a woman who was abused by her husband when she was in grad school, when he was in grad school and she was working in Wisconsin and also working on a business degree. So she had a trajectory where she went through that area of getting a business degree, getting further education and so on, and eventually was in a position whereby she had a chance to run for office and did, and won. She really cites the fact that the support of women in Liberia and the fact that they had just gone through a war, which is, you know, is a very masculine kind of activity, was credited with her winning. But you can imagine having to become president after going through a war means that, you know, you have a lot of cleaning up to do, which is what she did. I interviewed her, so you'll be pleased to know that. And I can share with you some of the things we talked about when I did that interview with her. So we're doing a range of people, and interestingly right now we're in the midst of the fact that we have the possibility of a Black woman vice president. And I'm sure for you and for our class in general, if that happens, we will be centering that person as she moves through the ranks of becoming the Vice President of the United States. And of course, all of the indications from the press suggest that it will be probably either Kamala Harris or, you know, one of those women like that who actively ran for president before, but also Stacey Abrams, who has quite a dynamic personality, and of course the mayor of Atlanta, and so on. So we have quite a few options. In fact, this is one time that they cannot say that they don't have candidates or don't have enough people to choose from. We have at least 4, right? So we're looking forward to that. So along the way, though, since it's Black women in political leadership, we look at Black women who have led political parties, who have been, like Elaine Brown in the Black Panther Party, the last chairman, she calls it, of the Black Panther Party, although she was a woman. And that's a significant thing that we talk about. We look at people like Angela Davis as well. In fact, that even though she was not involved directly in the leadership of a political party, really was a leader in the general scheme of things in the way she addressed the community, the international community, and so on. And of course, we look as well at some of the movements in the Caribbean, which has had, interestingly, so far, three women who have been prime ministers. In the current time, Mia Mottley from Barbados is Prime Minister of Barbados and also President of CARICOM. So it's going to be a really exciting semester. One of the nice things that the class does is that the students create a blog. What they do is interview a black woman political leader of their choice and then create a podcast that they can upload then to this blog site that we create. And that was quite an exciting thing because some people really reached high, and actually a couple of people went home and interviewed their own local council person or their own local congresswoman. I was going to say congresswoman. And I try to get them to aim for the top. And one of the last suggestions we had, and of course we can't do that now, was that we should find a way to do a kind of trip to DC or Albany and sort of check out the legislative process itself. But keep in mind, it's a class which looks at how these women navigate political positions through their writing, through their policies, through their arguments, through the kinds of things that they want to put forward for their communities and their advancement. We look at the fact of leadership as it relates to women. Is it different from how it is practiced by men? Those are questions that will be continuously raised, but also how women are presented, whether or not we spend more time looking at how they look personally, their hairstyle, their dress, as happened to Hillary Clinton, when men are allowed to wear the same suit over and over again if they want to. So we look at all of those issues in that class, but we also look at some of the examples of black women who really had political leadership in organizations where they did not get credit. For example, Amy Ashwood Garvey, the wife of Marcus Garvey, is identified as a co-founder of the UNIA, but she never gets listed as that person. She was quite significant in making sure that the UNIA had the black nurses, the Black Cross nurses, and a number of other organizational structures that really brought women in. But she was married to Garvey for like 6 weeks, and we know why. We will talk about it. It's nice and gossipy to know why she left and how it ended and what she did afterwards. So it's a really interesting class. You're going to have fun, and I look forward to working with you. How it links with today? It links with today because we have black women running for office. We had several of them, right, in the public eye. We have many of them who have become leaders in the local level, in terms of Congress, in terms of mayors of cities and so on. And we have a large amount now of material that we can work with as we study black women and political leadership in their own words. I look forward to seeing you.